So, I'm a little late to make a video on the update. Stuff's been going on, but I still do want to give my thoughts on it because it does make a ton of changes to Todo, which are pretty important. I'll put the update log on the screen very quickly if you somehow haven't read the update, even though it's been out for about 5 days, and you can pause the video if you want to read through it all. However, this video is mostly going to be my opinions and thoughts on the update, specifically a lot of the balance changes. Ready? Alright, then let's go. First thing I want to talk about is the new Todo content, which there's a lot of. Let's start with Elbow Drop, since that's the simplest of all the stuff that got added. Elbow Drop is a guard-breaking uppercut with decently long startup that on hit, sends your opponent into the air where you then drop onto them, ragdolling them at the end, which gives you enough time to follow up with one of your other moves. It's pretty simple, and if I'm being honest, the move is practically designed solely for combos because it has way too much startup, zero movement, and a tiny hitbox that makes it terrible for neutral. It's definitely not a move that you use raw, though you can land it that way if you combine it with Pebble Throw's swap variant, but I'll get to that later since that move sets up quite literally everything. Anyways, the move sucks for neutral. You're going to get punished 99% of the time, either by them M1ing you out of the startup, or just holding your S key so that you whiff it and then punishing the second long end lag. However, it is very good for combos, and you can land it a lot of ways. If you haven't baited Ragdoll Cancel and your opponent doesn't have a counter, you can straight up just M1 into it and they can't really stop it, which then lets you set up other stuff like Swift Kicks, Brute Force, or Pebble Throw for more damage on top of the massive damage that Elbow Throw already gives you. And if you have baited Ragdoll Cancel, you can uppercut into it, negating counters as well as getting you an extra M1 of damage. If you've met both of those conditionals and you land a Swift Kicks or a last M1, you can also catch them on Wake Up with the move, and since it's a guard break, if you time it right, it's gonna hit them 100% of the time. Very good combo tool because of the damage, and the fact that it puts your opponent in the perfect place to follow up moves. One other thing is that it's really funny to swap cancel with, but we'll get to that mechanic later since that's its own thing. Now let's talk about Pebble Throw, which got a ton of changes that are pretty interesting. The most notable one, and the one with the most to talk about by far, is the ability to now swap with the Pebble after you throw it. If you press R upon throwing the Pebble, you swap with it and sort of do a dash as well that makes you move forward pretty fast. In this dash, you're able to use all of your moves as well, and a dash will propel you forward as you do them, meaning that moves like Brute Force or Elbow Drop that would normally be terrible for neutral since people could move out of the hitbox effortlessly, are now way easier to land because you can stack the startup with your mobility. Brute Force specifically gets a special interaction with the Pebble Throw in that it does a kick instead of a punch, and if you time it right, you do a Black Flash that does roughly 25 to 30 damage on hit, as well as knocking back a ton. Honestly, this R variant on Pebble Throw might be one of the best moves in the game, and for sure it's one of the most fun ones to use. It's so versatile in what you can do with it, and if you're a good player who knows Todo well and can react to what your opponent does or how they play, this move can carry you super far. It can dodge certain awakening moves that normally would be completely unavoidable because of how much ground it covers. It can easily gap close on people far away, and it can set up combos, extend combos. Hell, there's so much you can do with it that I just can't name it all in this video. It's such a good utility tool for Todo because of the mobility it offers and how hard it can be to read for other players. Sure, it might be hard to manage a dash and not go past your target on the first few attempts, but once you get it down, the dash truly is an incredible move. As for the Black Flash, it's honestly kind of just a decent option you have. In terms of damage, you might be better off just doing your normal combo with Pebble Throw instead of throwing this into a combo, but it can work well as a finisher. Only problem is that it's sort of tough to land because the hitbox isn't huge, and you have to manage your distance so that you don't fall short or go way past your target. However, it's still super stylish and so much fun to land, so I'm glad Z added it anyways. Those weren't the only Pebble Throw changes, of course. Pebble Throw's stun by default was reduced, and what this means is kinda huge. Main thing is that it means that the normal Pebble Throw is no longer a true combo extender. If you try using it on a dummy, you'll see that they flash green before you get your next M1 in. What this means is that if your opponent blocks at the literal perfect time, they can escape your combo, and if they just press their counter button, they can get out of the combo. However, I actually don't see this being that big of a deal. You can still dash around your opponent's block and continue your combo, since unlike Curse Strikes, Pebble Throw still does reset your M1 combo, even if it doesn't confirm more of them. And in the case of counters, you can actually use them to your advantage by intentionally delaying your M1 after Pebble Throw to bait the opponent into countering it if you know that they have one. Pebble Throw still works as a combo extender, but it's not exactly true, and you have to be a little creative with it. However, the update mainly increases the incentive to use the variant on Pebble Throw that turns it into a true combo extender. Prior to this update, there really wasn't any reason to use the Pebble Throw variant, except for if you landed it from a far distance. Reason being that you basically threw away your swap, since you can't perfect swap the variant, which, since your swap is incredibly important for neutral, was a big sacrifice. You also could just use a normal Pebble Throw variant to extend, so it really wasn't that useful. Now, there's a bit more reason to use a variant. Final thing that got added to Todo has to do with his swaps. You can now cancel any of your moves by swapping, which can be used for a lot of creative things. There's a basic fainting people out that you can do with Pebble Throw, but you can also feint with Brute Force to stop people from interrupting you and combo them instead. You could cancel Swift Strikes midway, and if they don't expect it, you could combo extend with M1s, and you can cancel Elbow Drop mid-air for some funny mobility, as well as an untrue combo start / extend. It's super creative, and there's a lot that people will be able to do with this, which I like. Now let's talk on Megumi. Megumi got hit hard by this update with a ton of nerfs, but what I like about these nerfs is that they're actually only nerfs to people who play Megumi in an annoying or cheesy way. The two big nerfs are that you can no longer combo Rapid Escape with Nue, and you can't use a variant of Nue without a target. The first one is huge, and even though Megumi isn't great right now, I still do think this nerf was absolutely justified. The problem with this combo was that it, to put it bluntly, had no counterplay at all. If a Megumi used Rapid Escape, you were locked from moving at all, and the only way to avoid Nue was to dodge. So essentially, the Megumi could get completely free damage that you couldn't do anything about off of that combo. It didn't just end there though, because Nue, on hit, ragdolls the opponent in a ragdoll that cannot be cancelled. And so, Megumi could follow it up with Toad completely for free, getting him a decently high damage combo that did around 35 to 40 damage, which had no way of being avoided. It was completely unfair, only balanced by the fact that Megumi dealt low damage, had long cooldowns, and low health. And in no universe was it ever fun to fight against. The Megumi user just had to roll their head on their keyboard, and unless you had an awakening to iframe through their 1-2-3 combo with, you take 40 damage that could not be avoided no matter what you did. Glad Z removed it, and it's been a long time coming. As for Nue's R variant, needing a target, it's a nerf to running. You could use a variant in the past to gain some distance and just get away from people, which was annoying in main game if some Megumi was spamming attacks on you and then running, which was something that a lot of trolls love to do. Now, his mobility in main game is cut a lot because you can't use Nue to jump buildings. It's not a nerf that's going to affect you if you play normally, and Megumi can still make distance just fine with his R special, but it's a nerf to runners specifically, which is good. Again, both of these nerfs don't matter to you if you play Megumi as an actual character. They just kill off his cheese strategies that were unfun to fight, which is more than deserved. Nobody likes cheese except the people who use it, and it doesn't have a place here. Finally, we have cars. Not much to say besides that they're really funny. The cars move based off your walk speed, and they have car physics, so if you up your walk speed, you go faster, and if you go down a ramp, you go faster. They put you in stun so you can't use moves while seated, but that can be remedied by turning off stun. And if you pair the car with moves, it's just really funny. I feel like people are gonna have a lot of fun and make all kinds of hilarious stuff with it. Super fun private server gimmick overall, and again, not much to say, except that it's cool. Oh, and cars are indestructible, by the way. Finally, ranked is actually not that different from before. I'd say it's better if anything. Queue times are not noticeably worse, in fact they're better than before because I didn't have to wait on people to step onto the pad, and while ranked is as sweaty as it's ever been, that might get filtered out as more good players climb the ranks. It's pretty decent matchmaking, and I haven't had a problem with it so far. All in all, it's an improvement. As a whole, I gotta say this update is great. Todo is a bit overtuned in my opinion, since his damage and neutral are both insanely good, but I do think that's just a result of him being early access, and that there will be some slight nerfs once he gets Awakening. It's a great update, the cars are super fun, and if there's anything I have to say, it's that Z cooked. Anyways, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching, make sure to subscribe for more Battlegrounds content. I'm Noob Eternally, thanks for sticking with me, and have a good day. Bye.